All right, now that we ripped each other's heads off on these music topics, let's get into our AGM conclusion dialogue for the day. Kind of similar to a couple of our topics today of, very cliche one of us, should we leave the hood once we become successful or reach a certain point? Or should we help from a distance, or should we be there and be grounded? I know it's a very controversial topic. But what's your take on that?
I mean, different. For me, being somebody who looks at various different perspectives, I can see different points of it. For somebody who may not have not only the passion, they may not have the passion, the drive, the consistency, nor the work ethic to maybe contribute to a community or help out their community. Mm-hmm. However, there's other people where it's like that's part of what is motivating them to come up, is to be able to come back and help their people grow. People like Nipsey and others where it's like, all right, well, I'm going to come back and we're going to build up our area. Right. Because the rest of it's getting gentrified, the rest of it's getting lost, the rest of it's dying off, like because of different situations. But ultimately, like, for me personally, if I was to look at it in my shoes, I don't have a hood to go back to. I'm not coming back to Lancaster.
Well, maybe not.
But I understand. I can understand the idea behind it. You're asking if it's right or wrong.
Well, I'm asking if you and I hate to use him as an example, but with Nipsey, he said that I'm not going to go to Beverly Hills or Calabasas and put a Marathon store there. I'm going to put a Marathon store on Crenshaw and Slauson in an alleyway that anybody who knows that area, that is not somewhere to just kick it at. But I'm going to have Russell Westbrook and Big Boy and 21 Savage and all these millionaires come here right in the heart of our hood, and I'm going to buy this strip that the police were investigating me for just on the merit of this being that type of area. So do you think that, and I hate to use him as the example, but just to kind
that's
of
the most
help
prominent one
understand.
right now.
Do you think Nip should have just helped from a distance and had somebody else there, or do you think he was, he did it his way and how he did it was most impactful?
I mean, personally, I feel like, and this is only my opinion I can speak for, I feel like he did it how he felt necessary for his people. And we see the impact in it today, even post-passing, even before his passing. We have seen the impact of being able to normalize the fact that let's not forget that these are regular individuals. Just because they got money, just because they got attention, doesn't mean that they're not still the same motherfuckers who came from the hood, just like y'all did. It also, for me, it gives a sense of giving other people hope that they can get out of their current situation, but also shows that they're not being too bougie or whatever. To each his own for anybody who wants to just forget about that part of their life. But I'm all about understanding, helping people who were there throughout your struggle. Because don't just come when I'm up and up and I'm on the better swing of things, as opposed to not knowing how it was when I struggled to work my ass off to get to where I can even be in this situation and help out people who were where I was when I started.
Let me combat that though, because I think Nipsey was more valuable being here on Earth for our community than him being gone right now. Even though, yes, his music has went to another level and more people know about him, but I still think he has so much more work that he wanted to do and so much more to give. And I feel like our community was robbed abruptly because of that. So, I mean, do you really feel that?
I agree. No, but listen.
Feel I mean, I get it. Like, he did it his way of what he felt was right. But I mean, clearly he didn't probably anticipate that because he was lacking the day it happened.
And that's kind of one of those things that comes with the territory too, is that sometimes those days are going to come up. But as far as him not doing the best thing as far as being beneficial to our community by staying close to home, I kind of disagree in that sense, because it would be the same idea as, the mainstream idea of like, okay, you get big and forget where you come from. Right. He didn't. he chose to come back and not only help, not only remember where he came from, but to help build up where he came from.
He was literally helping somebody today.
And it's like, for me, it's like, to me, I feel like that is very admirable. Could I say I would do it myself? Absolutely not. I wouldn't do a lot of things most people would do for themselves and for our community. So
you're on the side of like, he did it his way.
He did it his way. I respect that. I understand that. I do see where you're coming from and him being more valuable, not being so close to home. However, if he didn't do what he did, he wouldn't have impacted the groups of people that he did.
Well, no, I'm not saying that. I'm not like taking the side as far as like, yeah, he should have went somewhere else. Honestly, when it comes to that specifically, I just think he should have been more on point at that moment. If you call somebody a snitch, you should not be comfortable enough to just, you know what I'm saying? And I think his team, the people that were around him, I think they should have been more on guard with that just happened. Or they should have been the one to kind of police that particular situation instead of having Nip dip his hand in politics still at that time.
That's where his people. I'm not saying he was not saying he wasn't lacking, because he was lacking in the sense of he got comfortable in his position.
His awareness, I think, was
but his awareness was lacking. Like, so it's like not only his awareness, everybody around him, everybody got comfortable with the idea that he was in a space to where he was, in theory, untouchable in certain situations. So it's like, here he is back home where he's not untouchable. He done said some shit that's controversial. You're not on your P's and Q's because you used to not be untouchable. Right. So it's like, then something comes up, somebody plotting on your downfall, comes for you, whatever the thing transpires. Right. But it's like, I feel like it's the matter of adapting to the fact that, oh, well, people look highly upon me. People aren't going to do that, or I'm in this space, so it's like, I don't got nothing to worry about, but people forgetting, like, in every situation, you need to be on your P's and Q's, whether it's successful or not. If you know people are more so plotting on your downfall, or nothing to lose, but it's like people do plot on your downfall. If you're doing good or comfortable in your skin, people are mad. So it's like, he needed to be on his... I can't speak on what that's wrong. I can't speak on what he needs to do or what he needed to not do, because I wasn't in this situation. I don't know the background behind it through and through. I only know what I've heard. Right. But ultimately, I can see where it's like, yeah, he was caught lacking because you got comfortable, as far as I see it.
Yeah. For myself, I'm not one of the people that like feel that it's the responsibility of any one individual or any like individual that's quote unquote made it to come back and help the hood if that's not in their heart to do. Like I guess Michael Jordan is like a good example. Catch a lot of flack, be helping the black community. But it's like, if that's never been his platform, never been in his heart, he never spoke on it, I don't see why we're looking for him to do that. Because other demographics don't, I don't think they hold their...
You know how much context is around what you just said.
I'm just saying. I don't feel like other demographics go as hard on their... on their celebrities to come back, they probably don't have nothing to come back to. I'm just saying, it's not the same.
No,
and I feel like as black people, we shouldn't expect that because we should do ourselves. But on that subject, if you do decide to come back and help the hood, you have to understand the environment that you're coming back to. And, as complex as people are, that's as complex as the solutions to those issues are going to be. So, in Nipsey's situations, we're talking about him, obviously he knows what it's like in the hood.
For sure.
And, you always want to, especially like having that connection to your people, you always want to have that connection to your people. But there is like a certain point where you have to realize, like, I don't want to say ascended past it, but you do ascend past the hood mentality, and as far as like the rooms that you're stepping in, the type of business moves you're making, the type of business partners that you're bringing on, and just the type of people that you find yourself associating with. So there has to come a point where it's like, all right, in order for this part of the hood to grow, or in order for me, like what I'm doing in the hood to grow further, I have to either put like a base here where niggas that I know are in the hood and gonna stay in the hood to, put them in place to do what they got to do to improve the conditions while I'm off over here, getting this and getting that and selling all this stuff so I could filter it back to them and they could, help them. It's a very fine line to walk, but I think it got to be a combination of both. Then you got to understand how violent your environment is too, and how vulnerable you are. Because if you out in the hood and you don't got no, if all your security is your homies and y'all just out in the hood chilling and everybody just relaxing, you know how niggas get when we relax and chilling, ain't nobody paying attention.
No, nobody's on their P's and Q's.
Right, so it's a bad situation. So you gotta understand your life is very valuable, not just to yourself and your family on top of it. Like your responsibility at the end of the day as a man is to your family first and foremost. So it's like I can't help the hood in jeopardy and put my family in jeopardy.
Right.
And if
they need you too.
Right, so it's like it's a cold situation, but I think
feel like
both is important.
Part of the sorry to cut you off. I feel like part of the problem too is that like for our community, people who make it, people who are successful are looked at as outliers. People who are above the ordinary, which I can see. However, it's like if we can break out of that, which isn't gonna happen overnight, ain't gonna happen in 2 years. But over time, if we look at ourselves as having greater potential from the jump, then we won't look at these individuals here and there, rappers, athletes, as outliers and being the people who have it all on their back to pull the rest of our community out from hardship. That's kind of fucked up in a sense, because it's like, that's not on them. They have their own life. They're human as well. They're one person. So they're doing what they need to do for not only their mental health, their sanity, but who they are as their one life as this person, whether it's an athlete or whatever, rapper, whatever. But it's like, I don't feel, with me saying that I understand and appreciate people who do, like Nipsey Hussle, who do come back and help their community. I understand where Darius comes from. It's not, if it's not in your heart, same with myself, I wouldn't do it because it's not in my heart.
Well, my question was more so to the people that do. It wasn't like a should they come back and help at all. It was like for the people that do, basically, how should they navigate that?
That's fair.
Is what I was more so, getting at.
And I guess I'm
and I think speaking to your point about like realizing who you are, I always felt like that was Nipsey's issue, because I've been a Nipsey fan since like high school. You know what I mean? A lot of people just started like really getting into him, but I've been following Nip the last 10 years. And I was more so worried about something like this happening back in like 2011, 2012, because he was really like, just not kind of, I mean, it's kind of a good trait, but I don't think he ever fully took it in. Like, yes, nigga, I'm a celebrity. Like, I'm above y'all. You know what I mean? And it's like he kept rising and rising and rising, and he still wasn't. I don't think he was fully taking it in, like who he was. Like, nigga. At some point in time, you started shaking hands with Jay-Z. You started, you like, even when he passed away, you notice any legend or anybody a part of our culture, if you looked at their Instagram, they all addressed this in some type of way. This impacted everybody in some type of way. So for you to have this type of influence, this type of impact, this type of power, and you still around all these niggas, like we said earlier, like have nothing to lose, I don't think he ever fully like took that in. And for that reason, I guess my assessment on that is like, I agree completely with what he did. I just felt like he should have been more on point doing it. Like, it shouldn't be normalized for you to go somewhere like that and just tell your security, nah, it's cool, you ain't gotta come with me. Like, can you imagine, and I'm not saying he was on this level, but can you imagine like Jay-Z or Nas, like, going back to their projects and just being like, oh no, y'all cool, like it's not even realistic.
Facts,
you know what I mean? And maybe again, I think he just didn't look at himself, in that light. And again, it's a great trait and quality to have. It's another sense of humility, but it ultimately, again, I feel like he was needed here, more than what we've seen since he left. And his family, right? Like, and I'm like, if we feel the way we feel, I can imagine how his kids feel, how they're gonna feel, how his family's gonna feel going forth. The people who are in his day-to-day life, like all the people that were dependent on him, and his influence. Sorry about that. Going forward. So yeah, I just, you know, where I stand is, I think, like, you know, I don't think he was wrong for the way he went about it. And any rapper that decides to go back, I just think you have to be more conscientious of the way that you go about it when you do it.
Understand, like, even when you're coming back, meaning to do good and with love, not everybody looking at you like that.
Right, and I mean, in his, you know, his position specifically, you definitely shouldn't be stealing. You definitely shouldn't be still, you know, politicking y'all situations, and you got people around you who can do that. You know, and you know, I mean, is there anything else you want to add to it? Or?
I mean, nah, not really. Like, I mean, for me personally, I don't know if y'all are aware of, and I've been using this word a lot, but I don't know if you guys are aware of the book Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. But I had to read that in school in one of my classes, and I don't know, it just gave me a different perspective of things, like the idea of people outside of the norm. Us as Black people, we highly celebrate people who are outside of the norm. We don't look at that as the fact that can be our normal. For white people, it's like, oh, okay, it's a normal. For Asian people, it's a normal. For academics or whatever, stereotype or not, it's a norm. For us, that's not a norm. And I feel like once we get past that, acknowledging the fact that we can make a difference in different ways, whether it's socially impacting, academically impacting, politically impacting. It's the matter of having the intelligence or the information or the knowledge to be able to dive into these different areas as opposed to being so secluded to certain things. We shouldn't be put in a box. That's my takeaway from it, is that we shouldn't be put in a box. Like, Nipsey was an outlier in the sense of, and he didn't realize it, which was part of the problem.
Exactly.
He was an outlier and didn't even know it, which is part of what led to his demise, because he wasn't on his P's and Q's. He didn't look at himself as an outlier, which is almost more admirable in the sense of, like, great, you're still looking at yourself as being in the same realm as where you came from. Like, you didn't change much, which is absolutely what's looked at as honorable. But ultimately, it did lead to his demise. And ultimately, that plays a part in the fact that it's not a norm for us to be... It's a norm for outliers, not a norm for outliers to be our usual.
Right, exactly.
And that's where we need to change things for outliers to be our normal. And once we get there, I feel like that's a very good start to helping other aspects of things.
For sure. All right, well, yeah, I think it's a perfect way to close, man. Again, appreciate y'all, you know, everybody that's tuning in, everybody that's, you know, giving us the feedback, you know, continue to...
keep it coming.
Yeah,
keep it
sure,
coming.
You know,
comment on stuff.
Yeah, and I'll keep, even if you send it to me or one of these two or on our official page, the AGM Podcast, I'll have everything on the bottom of this. But yeah, just contact any of us, you know, continue to get feedback, make sure y'all comment, send, you know, again, allgrindmedia21@gmail. If there's any topics that y'all, you know, feel we should, you know, stay on top of, or, you know, anything that you want us to bring up historically, whatever the case may be, you know, just let us know, man, and, you know, we'll make sure to implement it in some kind of way. We have a lot coming in store, man, and we'll keep y'all posted. But like I said, for now, you know, thank you for the feedback, man. Appreciate y'all tuning in, and peace. You know,
Thank you.
Peace.